right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Kameron Lowe, president of the Association of Professional Ball Players of America. I am so happy to have fellow MLB pitcher Brandon Kolb with us here today. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us, man. We're here to talk about health and wellness and accelerated healing. And Brandon's gone through an incredible journey with his health and wellness, from playing baseball, being a high-level athlete, MLB pitcher, to really, being a few breaths from death, and back. And now, he's paying it forward, and sharing his story to help other guys. And so, Brandon, thank you so much for joining me. And
thanks for having me, Cam.
Yeah, man. So I'm going to kind of start with how my journey with health and wellness and electroceuticals, electromedicine started. I had a herniated disc between L4 and L5, and I was leaned over to the side and had a left side herniation and had a spasm on the right side. So I walked around crooked as a politician for a couple of years. My herniated disc happened in 2007, and then in 2010, literally by the grace of God, got introduced to these devices. They are intelligent microcurrent. They work at a millionth to a billionth, even a trillionth of an amp of electricity, and they have AI inside of them that read your body, much like an EKG or an EEG would read your body, and then decipher what frequency is going to be proper for you and your specific injury. So you're getting a very tailored frequency, a very tailored therapy for exactly what you need every single time, which is exactly why they are so much more effective than most of the stuff, all of the stuff that we're used to in your average clubhouse. There are several teams now that are using them. The Diamondbacks, we actually just recently went over, my brother Cody and I went over and met with their technician and taught them how to use the devices more properly. There's a few other teams, the White Sox, the Reinsdorfs actually bought machines for their teams, and so they have their guys getting back from injury at super fast rates because they have these devices. And so now my brother Cody and I, we have post-professional careers, we have turned to helping other people with these devices that helped us when we thought it was probably all over. And so we're super excited to bring it to you guys. We want to get this everywhere. Everybody needs to know about this. We help people avoid surgeries and get off of drugs and avoid taking drugs, and help with detoxification process, and basically stimulate your cells, your body, to detox rapidly, bring in nutrients rapidly and oxygen, and your body heals itself. Your cells start to divide into healthy cells and kill off the unhealthy cells. So that's kind of a synopsis of how these things work. And so I am now going to kind of pass it over to Brandon here and tell us about your story, man. How did your journey begin with being a pro athlete, reaching the highest level of competition, and kind of running into the health issues that you ran into?
Well, guys, I appreciate the interest in what we're doing here. I'm here to let you know how this thing has really helped me. I came across Cam way too late in life, unfortunately. When I began my professional career, I was really new to the pitching game, hadn't been pitching long. The anxiety attacks were debilitating to the point where I developed a severe case of the yips, and it involved any throw that wasn't at 110% effort. And for years, I masked it with, when I was a starting pitcher, I could work through it. But when I got moved to the pen in '98 and following some MRIs, which I'll explain in a bit, they got debilitating. Panic attacks every night, the fear of throwing the ball to the catcher at less than 95 miles an hour. I think I went 2 seasons without throwing a ball to first base overhand. I definitely know I went 3 or 4 seasons without ever picking to first. But yeah, guys, it was career-ending. It was debilitating. It was the only thing that entered your mind. And to find out later in life that you were born with a genetic disposition that makes your body store toxins, your cells cannot rid toxins, and to find out that heavy metals attack the nervous system, the central nervous system. And on top of that, your mother dies from Parkinson's. You get diagnosed with Parkinson's after all the thorough testing. And the nervous system disorder that you've been battling your whole life, which is what affected the yips, when you detox the metals, you get rid of the Parkinsonian symptoms.
So, Brandon, how many guys are like you? How many guys are out there that might not know that they have this gene, the mother effer gene, they call it? Yeah. You describe it, please.
Yeah. So the MTHFR gene was passed down to me from my mother. I have the A1298 variant, which just simply means that your cells can't detox certain things at certain rates, and they can't rid themselves of harmful bacteria, mold, parasites, plastics, pesticides, all of which they found in my system when I had to resort to sending my blood to Germany to get a lipid profile done so we could find out what chemical compound was trapped in which part of the cell, whether or not it was water or fat soluble, so that we could get the IV ingredients to bind to the metals, which would then remove them from the cell with the help of the microcurrent, and the microcurrent would bust open the cell. The things that I would take through IV would bind to the toxins and then process through my system and eliminate them. It's called chelation. I did 23 rounds of chelation to rid my body of metals from a faulty hip implant, close to 40 to 50 MRIs, 18 known exposures to gadolinium that I was exposed to starting as young as 7th grade, I believe, was my first MRI. I don't know if we used contrast dye. I had 2 in high school that did use contrast dye, 1 in college that I didn't know. And then after that, we have found 18 known exposures to gadolinium in that time frame. And what that led to was my body stored it, which most people, if they have a reaction to gadolinium, it's within the first 30 minutes to 24 hours. And when they do, it's rash, it's hives, it's sweating, it's fever, it's nasty. But I didn't. I had those very, very rarely. But what happened was my body hung on to that over the course of years, which landed me at close to 160 times past what's considered dangerous in the body. And what that did was it deformed the end of my bones. It calcified my ligaments and tendons. I've been through over 25 surgeries now, 6 stem cell procedures. The pain path went from consistent chiropractic in my early 20s, massage in my early 20s, to dry needling, acupuncture, cryotherapy, cortisone shots, nerve blockers. I've done 2 rhizotomies on my back the last 2 summers to fry my nerves L2 through S1. And let's see, what else? STEM.
If it's out there, it sounds like you've tried it.
No, I mean, guys, we jumped through every hoop. And I was on, from a medical standpoint, first it was hydrocodone about 2010 with increasing doses of that. Then it was oxycodone. And when you just kept piling it on, it was just a daily regimen. And it wasn't abusive pills. It was done with military precision because I was up over 100 pills per. I was taking 120 total pills per day, 5 separate times throughout the day. And that was after we whittled down to as many injections, powders, and liquids that we could so that I wouldn't have to process that many pills.
And these weren't just like supplements. These were pharmaceutical pills.
No, it was 2 antidepressants, 2 sleeping pills, muscle relaxers, Adderall, 3 blood pressure medications, thyroid, hormone replacement across the board, growth hormone, testosterone, HCG, And then with all of the trace minerals and support that I had to take, because when they were stripping my blood of all the nutrients, getting the metals out, it also took all the good stuff. So you had to replace it with potassium, calcium, trace minerals, you name it. Yeah, I mean, it was a full-time job.
So what percentage of people have this?
I'm sorry, totally distracted. 25% of the population have the MTHFR gene.
1 out of every 4?
1 out of every 4, and then the variants are varying degrees of that. So if you have that, that means you can't break down vitamin B properly, which leads to constant dehydration. I am over a gallon of water a day, high alkaline water with 2 electrolyte supplements, and every time I'm hospitalized, I come up as dehydrated and they rush 2 bags of saline into me. With that level of dehydration, you can't heal.
It's crazy to think that there's that many people out there that have this, and that probably, a fraction of a percent of them know it. You gave me a stat just a couple hours ago when we were talking how many guys are in organized baseball, professional baseball, and you cut that into 1/4. Can you just shoot those numbers at me again?
Well, off the top of my head, when I played, there was 200 people per team. Since they cut down the draft, what are we talking, 150? 150 times 30, you're looking at 4,500 players. That means 1/4, you're looking at 1,125 players.
Don't look at me. I don't do math.
1,125 players. No, that's not true. Damn it, don't make me do math on the spot. Anyway.
You get the picture. It's a lot of guys.
Quite a few guys that are playing baseball right now simply have a genetic mutation that makes your cell, it's tougher to detox toxins, which means in the environment that I was in, moldy locker rooms, dusty hotel rooms, jet fuel, gadolinium from contrast dye and MRIs.
That might be a really big one for guys
sure.
not knowing that MRI
guys who already have metal implants in them. Guys, I had to have a hip removed that was leaking cobalt and chromium into me, that was recalled by one of the major medical companies out there, and it was in me since the hip went in December of 2015, and I didn't get it removed until March 11th, the day the world turned upside down for COVID in 2020. And that was the first of 10 surgeries in a 12-month calendar year. Was through November of 19, right before I met Cam, which was my 3rd sinus surgery to repair collapsed sinus tubes from a mold infection inside my face, which had also spread to my brain, lungs, and gut. And we couldn't continue the detox of the heavy metals until we got rid of the mold. And that's when this machine came into play. They said that I was positive for 5 separate mycotoxins, which was a big alarm bell that my immune system wasn't fighting off anything. And when we found that, it gave us a treatment path, because until we got the body rid of that, we couldn't get rid of the metals without landing me in the hospital.
It's quite a story, man. And to see you, okay, so we met each other in 2019. And
Mick, pull up some of those before pictures.
You were in bed like 22 hours a day, and you flew into Phoenix from Dallas to see my brother and I. You were there for 5 days. You were supposed to get 10 sessions. You were only able to make it to 7 of them, and you struggled your way to those 7. And you willed your way into there. Yeah. And you were in, yeah. And to be sharing a stage with you right now, man, is super cool, because I know that you're back to skiing, you're active, you look great, and now you get to share your story and touch other people's lives and bring awareness to something that a lot of these guys might not know. So thank you. Yeah. Thank you for being up here. Thank you for sharing this, man. And that's what the Ball Players Association, the Association of Professional Ball Players of America, has been around for almost 100 years. 1924, right there, established in 1924. Been helping guys for almost 100 years, and this is why we do it, man. This is why we do it, because we love to see our boys.
I'm honestly, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah, please do.
I have to say this. I just do. Guys, I'm just going to put this in some perspective for you, how well I was doing when I met him. At the time, they decided, I had the first part of the procedure done before I flew out there. The vein doctor said that they had to close down my veins permanently from my groin to my ankle on both legs because my heart wasn't strong enough to pump the thick blood through my body anymore. Okay, it was pooling in my feet. I had edema up and down my legs, and they thought that if they closed down those veins permanently, it'd be less, more pressure to get the blood out of the feet. And then I flew out and saw Cam. And Cam, after the 7 treatments, found a practitioner back in Flower Mound that I could continue this treatment. I got as many as I could. While they pulled the blood out of me, filtered it, diluted it, killed all the they were basically, my immune system was a machine instead of my own immune system doing it. And I was doing this the entire time. I was doing 3 of these a week while they were filtering my blood. And then they were basically stimulating my liver, kidneys, gallbladder, spleen, helping my body detox what was literally killing me. And in doing so, they reversed diagnoses from some of the best medical institutions where I landed on Parkinson's and chronic fatigue and a medical regimen or a medicine regimen that was killing me. And then I met Cam. And less than 3 weeks later, I stopped taking every single one of those medications. I landed on more supportive natural supplements with the support of many great companies along with Life Priority. Michelle Pryor was a big, big part of this. Reaching out to her helped streamline my supplements and my recovery. But I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for this. I wouldn't. I wouldn't have met the doctors that continued the therapy. He didn't see me for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
2.5 years, you didn't see me.
Yeah.
And I was on the phone with him every few months, filling him in on how I was doing, getting more guidance, getting in touch with more people. And, here today, I felt obligated that I am out the other side. You got to get this out there, because if there's guys out there suffering from this stuff that don't know about this, it's an option.
Amen, brother. So, obviously you had a very extreme case, and to see where you came from to where you are now is super cool. But there's all varying degrees, right? Some
variants are worse than mine, and you don't have to have this variant to retain metals. It depends what kind of metals. I had uranium in my system from my childhood. Well, best guess is it's from my childhood. I grew up in the East Bay area in California next to Lawrence Livermore Lab, which was an underground military base during the Cold War. They were working on nuclear. That's where common sense got to play a role here.
Like Chernobyl light?
Well, seriously. It's like at some point, if you look at all the symptoms, when you pull these well-documented toxins up, okay, it's all the same things as many autoimmune disorders and Parkinson's and dementia and insomnia, anxiety, depression.
So what does that, to me, that says this is temporary, or can be temporary with the proper detoxification. If you can get these heavy metals, these toxins out of your body, out of your brain, out of your liver, out of your organs, you can then start to heal. And that's the whole point of this, right? Is, detox and getting healthy cells. And it's not forever. The information you may have gotten might not be the right information. This might not be forever. So and that's why I love these machines, is because this is non-invasive, drug-free, and it won't hurt you, and it helps to detox your cells and helps you to basically start healing yourself, because there's nothing on the planet that heals you except for you. We just can only help facilitate that. So that's kind of the point that I would really like to get across to all you guys out there that might be listening. Whatever you're going through, whether it's pain from an old injury, from playing ball, traumatic brain injury, maybe, center fielder slammed up against the wall too many times. Love you as a pitcher, love you. But you don't have to live with that pain for the rest of your life. We can help you with that brain fog, with those headaches, with that constant pain that you may be, I see guys online on the Facebook feeds, and they're talking about, brothers, I'm hurting. I turned to the bottle. I've turned to pills. I've turned to, anything to get me out of pain, and which is causing more toxicity within the body. And so that's,
No, we all self-medicate. Listen, now that I know I have the same genetic disposition that my grandmother, mother, and sister had, who are all deceased. My sister took her life at 42 on her second suicide attempt. Okay, my mother's last 4 or 5 years on this earth were not fun to watch. Her nervous system went away. She couldn't bend her joints. She was stiff as a board in a wheelchair. She couldn't control her bowels. She was falling, hitting her head every time she'd walk. That was me. That's what I was doing. I blamed it on everything under the sun. Okay, and with over-the-counter medications, with alcohol, you name it, we all went through. When my nightstand started to look like my mother's, I knew that we had the same thing. And sure enough, it was nervous system disorder, it was mental disorder, it was bipolar, depression, anxiety. Okay? I was on rotating antidepressants for years. I was on 2 milligrams of clonazepam twice a day, and it wasn't even for when I experienced anxiety attacks, it was scheduled. I was on that for about 6 months prior to meeting you. Okay? That's how bad it was. I was on 2 sleeping pills. I was on Adderall to wake me up. Okay, they literally tried to control my system for me because my system couldn't control itself. And now I take none of it. Okay, I'm on half a cc of tests per week because we're never going to be able to get off that. I've been on thyroid medication for a decade. I'm off of that. I'm off growth hormone. We're off HCG. And I'm off 3 blood pressure medications. And I can honestly say, well, I mean, like Cam said, hey, I'm not out of the woods yet, but I'm here. I've got energy. My wife and I just welcomed our 4th child to the world.
Congratulations,
because
man.
of my recovering thyroid. It wasn't supposed to be possible. So
tell everybody what his name is, especially the middle name.
His name is Bowie, middle name Thor. So we got that Thor in there. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's the 4th one. Have fun with it.
I love it. Yeah. Well, Brandon, dude, thank you so much for sharing your story. Takes a lot of bravery to get up and share something that was seemingly such a weakness and such a a heavy thing in your life. To sit up here and share that with us just means the world to me and to the association, to all of our brothers out there. So thank you very much. And
thank you, Cam.
Thank you guys for listening. We love you out there, and reach out. Reach out. We all got to have each other's backs. We all got to lift each other up, and that's what this association is all about. So reach out to us if you guys got something going on. If you need help, we're here for you. So God bless, and have a great evening.